Hi, Stephen from Owner Disown. Now, by popular request, I've been asked to look at the Asus GL504, the Strix 2. In this case, it's the Hero Edition. But of course, there is also the Scar Edition. Now, the Scar Edition has the GTX 1070 in it, and this has the GTX 1060 in it. So it's a quick unboxing. We're going to take a quick look at it, and first impressions, I'll compare it against like the GS65 and also the Asus Zephyrus S, because you know it has the same panel, the world's fastest 144 Hz 3 millisecond panel there. So base model of the Hero and HID Evolution runs for about $1,700. But the benefit of HID is you can configure it as you see fit. Of course, it comes with the standard 144 Hz 3 millisecond 1080p panel, but you can also pay $50 to get it calibrated, which is great, and also to minimize a backlight bleed. They select a unit with minimal bleed. That's $100. And also there's you can do a zero defective pixel warranty for HID, but Asus have a zero bright dot warranty in place, so that is nice to have. And all my units are repasted. HID have put Conductor Node and Fuji Poly Extreme thermal pads on this. That's a $95 upgrade. And for memory, Asus standard is single channel, a 16 gig, one stick, but I've gone for dual channel, two 8GB sticks. I've gone for the standard Asus 256GB PCI Express SSD and a 5400 RPM hard drive. And Wi-Fi is the Intel 9560, which is great. Now, the Scar can also be had in a 17.3 size. That's the GL704. Now, looking at the styling of it, it looks just the same as the Zephyrus S. In fact, let's just get the Zephyrus S out and you can take a look. Side by side, they have the exact same styling lid. So really, you know, it's hard to tell them apart initially, but one clear difference: plastic lid on the GL504, and you know, like an aluminum lid here out of the the Zephyrus S. But still, even though it's plastic, it does look nice and it feels nice too. And you have the ROG emblem up here, which I understand glows and changes color, I think, compared to the Zephyrus S, where it just stays as like a steady, like a subtle red. And also, you know, we're looking like feels like a plastic top as well, to be honest. It could be aluminum, but you know, it doesn't feel like the Zephyrus S. I'll compare them side by side in a bit. Now, the QWER keys are highlighted here on the Hero Edition. Now, this is for MOBA games like Dota 2. They are highlighted there, and they're actually transparent as well. If you play a lot of those games, this may be the one you want to get. Now, the Scar Edition has the AWSD keys for first-person shooter games. They're highlighted in comparison, but still, other than that, they are just exactly the same, apart from the GPU that you can get. Now, the Scar is a little bit more expensive, of course. It's around about $2,000 or so, because you've got the GTX 1070 in it. And I must admit, I think personally, if I was going to spend $2,000 on it, I would probably go for the 1070 Scar versus the configured one I've got here for the 1060 and the Hero Edition. Just because, you know, I want an extra oomph on the graphics. The keys have a nice spacing. That's very nice. And you'll notice there's actually spacing between the function groups here. So F1, F4, they're split into 4 groups with a space there to easily identify them there. Up top here, we do have a nice air intake grill. That is good, like that. Some separate volume buttons here, enabling or disabling the microphone, and their gaming center software button there. So that's good to have that as a one press. The trackpad is nice and smooth, separate buttons, and it's a Windows Precision trackpad. Now, the keys do feel very nice. They've got 1.8 millimeters of travel, which I do like. Now, compared to the Zephyrus is 1.2 millimeter, and that was noticeable. Does not feel particularly great. They felt mushy. They have overstroke technology, is what they say. Is that has a higher activation, and indeed when you press it, it does feel like that. So that makes it a bit more responsive. And as I do like the spacing between the keys. The keys are backlit, RGB backlit, but they are in 4 zones, so it's not per key RGB. Now, speakers, I understand, are at the sides There are the side speakers here at the front, but far out the sides. So that actually does give you a better stereo effect. Underneath again, of course, it's ABS plastic, which is fine. I've got no problems with that at all. I always find that's very solid. Some intakes here and here. And it looks like it's going to be a lot easier to take off than the Zephyrus S with standard Phillips head screws. So that's a big thumbs up for me. Now the feet are not very big. They're pretty small. So I would question what the airflow is like coming in underneath here. So that's something to bear in mind. In fact, let's have a compare underneath to the Zephyrus. And then you've got the difference there. Of course, it's all aluminium here compared to the plastic, but a lot harder to get into, and has a different cooling mechanism with this flap lifting up here at the back versus the standard design here. But to be honest with you, this you can retail. I've got it for like $1,800 with a free mouse and the game with a 1070 Max Q, and this typically $1,600 to $1,700 with a 1060. I don't know, I would pretty tempted to just go for the Zephyrus S, and my review on this will be up Monday/Tuesday. And I'm telling you, out of the box, it works really, really well. And of course, it's got the boost mode, so yeah, that actually does run close to a standard 1070. So, it's certainly an option. Now it has the 6-core i7-8758 CPU, which is pretty standard these days. It's up. One benefit to the Zephyrus, it does go up to 32 gigabytes of RAM. While that Zephyrus is only 24. And of course, you've got more storage options too. You've got in here a 1 terabyte hard drive, a 7mm drive. You can increase that to 2 gigabytes should you wish. So, if you do handle a lot of video files and you don't want to use an external drive, something like this, or a lot of big games, then you can do something like this. It makes more sense for sure. The panel, of course, is 144 Hz, 1080p, 3 millisecond IPS light panel. It's the same panel as on the Zephyrus, and that is a nice panel. Now, compared to the GP63, which is a TN panel, slightly cheaper, 120 Hz, the panel on the GP63 is better, in terms of color accuracy. It's 100% sRGB versus 96% sRGB on the AUO panel here. So, I did prefer the color on this. In terms of the size-wise here, compared to that, it's actually quite a bit narrower than the GP63. So it's more solid in that regard. So if portability is your thing, that might be the key. Now, they're both similar weight. I think they're all around about the 5 pound mark, but I will weigh them. I do prefer the styling of the Asus here versus the MSI. I must admit, I do quite like that styling. But the cooling underneath, there's actually no comparison. The GP63, as if you haven't seen my video, click up here. It's very well cooled, and you got better intakes. You got bigger feet than you do here on the Hero Edition here. Now the fans inside are 12-volt fans, same as probably the same fans as in the Zephyrus S, and they do spin fast. So that should help the cooling somewhat. So the colours are good, as I say, 96% sRGB, and the panel itself does have a bit of flex strip, but it's not too bad. And you do notice the very slim bezels here, very good, but the webcam right down here at the bottom. There's a quick look at the webcam, not so good. Not only is it low down, it's off center and it's blurry. So don't expect to do any streaming on this one. One nice touch is this glowing RGB light strip here. I do like that. So this Strix 2 weighs 5 pound, say 7 ounces. The GP63 is 5 pounds, so that weighs less. And the Zephyrus about 4 pounds, 10 ounces. So looking at the ports on the right hand side, we've actually got here, we've got the Hero Edition here, we have the Zephyrus S here, and the MSI GP63 here. So it's nice that we do have an SD card reader, because the Zephyrus has nothing like that. We do have, it's actually supposed to be, it's supposed to be a USB 3.1 port there, but I think that's the Gen 1. And then we have the heat exhaust here, and Kensington lock here. Now around the back, we have you know, the logo imprinted here, ROG Strix, but it, you know, it looks rather cheap, doesn't it? It's a shame it's not like gold embossed or something like that. But we've got the 2 rear exhausts, following the same as like the everything else. The Zephyrus, of course, looks a bit more stylish, and it does have the HDMI and the Kensington lock at the back. And the GP63 has no ports, but it does have, as you can see, it's thicker, so it does have bigger heat sinks at the back. And finally, on the left-hand side, we do have an Ethernet port. This is huge because on the Zephyrus, there isn't one, it's too thin. But note, there's no heat exhaust vent like we have on the other 2. We have a mini display port, which is good for 60 Hz at 4K, which is very good. And we have HDMI 2.0 and 2 USB 3.1 Type A ports, which are Gen 2. We have a USB-C port, no Thunderbolt port, but that's the same as on the Zephyrus and the GP63. And finally, we have a combo headphone microphone jack. So there you have it. Quick first look and unboxing. In my test, I will be certainly comparing it to the likes of the Omen 15, the Helios 300, the GP63, that type of class of machine. But also I'll be comparing it against the Asus Zephyrus S, because I think price-wise, they're not too far apart. And if there's any particular tests you want me to do, please put that in the comments below, and I will do my best to accommodate. Again, thank you for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe to watch the full review, and I'll see you next time. Bye.